Well, I had a really tough time when I graduated college, and I started going through a really rough phase, I guess. And I got out of the church. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was making very poor decisions. But then decided that I wanted to come back and try to get involved in the church some more, because John, my stepdad, was really involved, and him and my mom seemed to be having a really good experience with going to church and being involved in community groups and all that stuff. I didn't really know what a community group was or anything like that, and I didn't really know if that was the next step for me to take to be in a community group. And one day at church, Lauren Johnson, she tapped me on the shoulder, and she was like, I just want to talk to you after service. And then after church service, she came up to me and kind of told me that they were starting a young adults group and for people in the church, and it was going to be held at one of their houses on Thursday nights. And I was like, I didn't know any of them, so I was really nervous and didn't know how I felt about it, but I told her that I might show up for the first initial one. So then after a lot of thinking, and I tried to get some of my friends to go that weren't really involved in the church, and nobody would go with me. But I decided that I was just going to show up there and see what it had entailed, I guess. So then I show up there on the first night, and I was super nervous, and I went to the door, and Lauren, another girl that had never been to a community group and didn't know any of these people, just happened to walk in at the same time as me, so it was kind of like an overwhelming sense of comfort that we both didn't know anybody, and we were both showed up at the same time. It was pretty cool. And so then we got there, and I started meeting people, and everybody was really friendly. And then about a couple weeks in, there was a lot of people that didn't really know each other, but then there was that main group that had been to community groups before together. And then there was this couple that was also new. And they have a family of 3 kids. And it was one night at community group where we all were starting to get to know each other a little bit better, but it was still new into the weeks. I guess it was only the couple weeks in. And the wife, because we separated into 2 separates, guys talked and then girls talked, just to kind of to get our, everyone we would discuss what was going on for the sermons that were happening each Sunday. We would just separate. And one of the girls that has the family that didn't really know or anybody, just like I didn't, just prayed for their financial situation. And we, said a prayer, and I guess it was really bad, but she never asked for money. She didn't ask for anything. All she asked for was prayers. And so we were like, okay, we'll pray for you. We didn't really go into, because we didn't know where the boundaries were, what we could ask and what we couldn't ask, or I guess what we should ask. And so we prayed for her. And then after community group, they had left. And I guess one of them had told one of the people in our community group the severity of the financial issues. And when I mean severity, I mean they could have lost their house the next day, their apartment, because it was that type of situation. And so when they weren't there, we all started talking, what could we do to make a difference, or what could we do to help? I mean, you want to be able to do everything, but not saying everybody has great financial, we're all struggling, and all those things. So we decided that we would just try to get as much money together as we could, whether it was somebody that could give $5 or could give $100. And that night, we all came up with the amount of money that we had to give. And it was the coolest feeling I have ever experienced. I never felt such a sense of peace. I felt that's exactly where I needed to be, and that's exactly where God wanted me to be, in order to see the love that people have for each other and what people will do when they don't even know each other that much. And I've never felt that feeling before, and it was so humbling to see all these people get together and give to this family just so they could stay in their house with their 3 kids, or where they were living. And so after all the money, the guys took it over and delivered it to them. The community group really inspired me, the way that they share their love with the people, the way that they live out, just like we say at church, love people, live out. They really did that, and they wanted to do community service, and They wanted to make me feel like I was already a part of the group when they didn't even know me, and that was probably the most touching, especially for the situation that I was going through at that specific time. And I really feel like it was a blessing to meet all of them. And I think it's extremely important that even if you feel scared or intimidated to join and to go to a different group where you have to, let your guard down and meet these new people, I would love for everybody to have the experience that I did with a community group. They're really people that you can count on when you have your ups and especially when you have your downs. They're there to pray for you. They're there to reach out to you when you need a hand. It's an overwhelming sense of love that I feel like it's hard to find that. And to really have a group of people that are willing to go that extra mile and to be there for you is such a wonderful feeling, and I just wish that everybody could experience that. I'm Chelsea Harvey, and I'm Living Sent.